Welcome to the Wickedly Branded podcast. I'm Beverly, the founder here at Wickedly Branded. We're here to talk about the revised edition of the Marketing for Entrepreneurs book, The Quick Guide to Sparking Your Marketing. And today we're talking all about chapter 9, which is about visibility that protects your energy. There is a very specific kind of exhaustion that comes from being visible. It's not the kind that you feel after like a long client day. That's different. It's still very rewarding, where your mind is full and your heart feels really stretched in the best possible way. It is the kind that follows you into the evening, the kind that lingers after you close your laptop. It's the kind that whispers, I should be doing more. And I know as founders, we always feel like we should be doing more. I see this all the time with really high-performing, capable founders who care about their work, they care about their clients, they care about growing their business and growing themselves even. And somewhere along the journey of entrepreneurship, visibility begins to weigh if they find it like a weight that they're carrying instead of a bridge they can walk across. So it feels heavy, it feels hard, and it feels like a lot. So today I'm going to talk about visibility in a way that actually protects your energy, because the visibility at its core is simply your presence repeated over time. Presence can feel extremely steady when done right, or it can feel hard and strained and just a lot of work if it's done, I think, in the hardest way. The difference really usually comes down to what I call rhythm. I'm a dancer, so I love things that have rhythm. So when rhythm fits your life, consistency becomes far more natural. And when rhythm ignores your real capacity, which I think founders do a lot, moms do a lot, tension built quietly in the background. So I'm going to tell you a story. There was a season of my own business where everything was working for the business. The strategy was super clear. I had a system, I had process, I had clients coming in, my calendar was full, and by all stretches of societal success metrics, I was doing really well, and I felt completely stretched. I was posting regularly, I was recording videos like this, and I was writing emails, I was hosting calls, all of it aligned in theory. Yet I would sit down to create and feel this really deep gnawing kind of pressure in my chest. The one that says, keep going, stay ahead, stay relevant, this constant mantra I was putting out there. Just really the steady internal noise of what I was supposed to be doing, should be doing. So it took me a moment to realize that my rhythm had quietly outpaced my energy level. I had built a visibility plan that assumed a version of me that had far more margin than I actually had as a military spouse, as a mother, as a community member, as a daughter, as a friend. It was too much. So when I adjusted the rhythm instead of pushing through it, something so dramatically, I feel like, changed for me. I chose 3 anchor touch points a week: one story, one insight, and one invitation. We talk about that a little bit in chapter 8 as well, the previous episode. That rhythm fits inside my real life. It allowed room for client work, family, creativity, and the quiet thinking time that makes my work so much better and stronger when I have breathing room in there. And the tension of showing up and being visible eased for me. And here's the part that I think really surprised me the most, probably, is engagement grew. So sometimes I have so much content in my brain that I put it out there, and that's just the way I show up. And sometimes I have less, but typically, now that I've let some of this go, my engagement has actually increased. Because consistency, I know, doing the thing over and over again, thrives when it has become sustainable. So your nervous system, I've talked about this a little bit in previous episodes, knows when you're operating from depletion, and your audience can sense it too. This underlying current of exhaustion or overwhelm can come through as well. So the brain responds to patterns that it sees, and familiarity builds that safety, and that safety builds trust. We talked about this before too. But when your presence arrives at a predictable cadence without spikes or disappearances, your audience begins to settle into it. They know you're going to be there. They can rely on you. They are looking for your tips and advice and wisdom. So they can stop wondering if you're going to show up. They can expect to see you. And the expectation is where the momentum really lives. It comes home. Remember, we've talked about this. So this relationship then becomes a rhythm, right? On social media or wherever you show up, the platform you've chosen. So visibility becomes heavy though, but when it's like, it feels like an obligation instead of a relationship. So relationship has rhythm. Think about your closest relationships you have, your spouse, your children, your parents, your friends. You do not speak constantly with those people, but you return on a pretty consistent basis, whether it's holidays or birthdays or anniversaries or the one time a year girls trip, whatever it is. It's that consistency that helps. And that is an ease in the returning to the relationship every time. So marketing deserves that same type of cadence, the same type of return consistently. So inside Wake Up Be Branded, we often help finders map what I call a visibility rhythm that honors three realities. There are three distinct realities that every single founder we know has. Your energy, the season you are in. So if you are a mom and hard with a toddler, you're not going to have nearly as much energy as if you're a mom and hard with a 10-year-old. Although a 10-year-old can be very challenging. And then your capacity. How much work do you actually have? Women work in cycles and seasons. That is how we are. So I plan my content days for days that I know I'm going to have more energy in the mornings when I'm more clear. Like I intentionally plan my calendar around that stuff so that I can show up in the way that actually fits my energy and that I don't feel like it's an obligation and I don't feel like it's just a lot of work. I feel like I can give it the magic that it needs. Your energy fluctuates week to week, season to season, shifts year to year, and capacity expands and contracts truly based on your life and what you're going through. So if you're sick, you're not able to give the best, right? So I oftentimes will record stuff in advance so that if I do get sick, I have a little bit of breathing room. So I'm not forced to create content when I don't feel it well. So be a little bit in advance will help you too. When your marketing plan accounts for those three variables, it becomes far more supportive than draining. But when it ignores that, when it ignores the energy, the season, and your capacity, when you just keep plowing through, because we do it, because we think we should, it creates strain and stress and burnout. So let's make this practical. Imagine you choose Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday as your visibility days. Tuesday, you tell a story, you hold a story. Thursday carries a teaching moment that you help with your clients and things like that. And then Friday invites a connection of some sort. Follow the newsletter, download my book, whatever. DM me your questions, whatever that looks like for you. 3 touch points, each one very purposeful, each one deeply grounded in your voice and your experience, your lived experience. When you're showing up, your audience knows that you're showing up and the rhythm can hold the both of you. Over time, that consistency, that steadiness compounds. People begin to say things like, I see you everywhere. And when you are posting 3 times a week, that's really because you're posting 3 times a week, right? Because presence repeated consistently feel far bigger, expansive than posting here and there. That's what the magic of marketing is. It starts to feel far bigger than it is. There's something else that's happening, I believe, here psychologically when you are doing this. When you build rhythm that actually fits your life, your internal resistance to doing marketing actually lowers. So decision fatigue decreases and your creative energy flows far more freely. It has for me, it does for so many of my clients. You sit down knowing what kind of post that you're going to write. And then less friction in that means better and more output. So more output within a sustainable rhythm means that more trust will be built with your target audience. The trust that eventually turns into revenue for your business and helps you stay open and grow, right? Both very important things. I'm going to tell a story. Angel came to us. She was a little scattered. She had lots of ideas. Her follow-through was a little inconsistent and her energy was stretched very thin. But inside her brand spark experience that we did with her 90-minute session, we identified what truly mattered in her message. And inside of her brand ignite intensive, we built a rhythm that she could live inside. We gave her some structure. She was able to then recreate on her own. So 3 posts a week, 2 emails a month, 1 monthly live session, and her energy shifted first and fast. And then her consistency, I believe, strengthened because she felt empowered and confident that she could do it. She could actually do this thing and not hate it. And then her bookings increased because she was showing up consistently, building that trust. And she told me later that it finally feels like my marketing fits my life. That sentence is everything to us at Wickedly Branded, because your business exists to support your life. You work so you can live the life you want to live. Visibility that protects your energy requires a little bit of discernment. So I'm going to go back to the concept of essentialism. You don't have to say yes to everything. And it's okay to say no. It's okay to give permission to not do more or do the should that you think you should do, because you end up shooting all over yourself. It's okay. I just wrote a blog post about the year no, to give yourself some space. So ask yourself some questions. Where does my energy feel the strongest? Where does it feel the most strained? What rhythm or cadence feels doable, repeatable, without feeling it in my bones or in my chest? Those answers give you the direction you need to make those decisions and choices for yourself. Inside of Chapter 9 of the revised Marketing for Entrepreneurs book, I walk through how to map this rhythm for yourself. And the companion workbook gives you space to test it before you commit to anything. So if you want some structure and support with what we're talking about here today, you can find both in the book and the workbook through the link in the show notes or on Amazon. Next week, we're going to move to Chapter 10, all about the blaze. And blaze is where the rhythm matures into your reputation. And until then, I want you to choose what fits your life and stay with it long enough to see what grows.